Weather surveillance indicates turbulence out there. Try not to get knocked out of the sky.
Got it. Quiet. Where does she think she's going?
You want to head out with the boss?
That'll be the day.
I don't see a problem with it, so long as she's with you. She's a crack shot, damn fine scout. Well suited for a clandestine op. Which is more than I can say for the others.
There's nothing damn fine about this... thing.
Here.
Hey.
Blades.
Wait a minute, that thing costs a lot of money.
You can see each individual blade. And her depth perception.
You want in? This is ridiculous. She doesn't talk. How could you possibly stay in communication?
Right. I like working solo anyway.
Hello everybody and welcome back once again to Let's Play Metal Gear Solid 5. Well, in the last session, Central Base Camp we were at, trying to extract Dr. Emmerich. We did extract him, but not without some problems. Mainly a big hulking, bipedal, standing upright type weapon that almost killed us. Yeah, Sahelanthropus I think it's called. But we got out alive. And we are now ready to move on to pastures new because we have some missions, or a mission that's taking us to Africa. We are finally able to go away from the sandy climate, the dusty, hot, arid Afghanistan to somewhere completely different. But before we go there, a couple of things to do. First of all, we've got lots of cassette tapes to listen to. I don't plan to listen to them all, but I do plan to listen to some of the perhaps more important ones. So first of all, I suppose we will start with... These are all to do with quiet, and we'll do those a bit later. But we have picked up Dr. Emmerich, so we shall find out a bit more about what he has to say for himself. Feel free to skip, of course, if you've already heard them or are not interested.
It wasn't just Cypher. Back in the Caribbean, every eye in the world was turned on us. A private army, just a bunch of guys with guns, in possession of a nuke? Why wouldn't they be uncomfortable?
And that's why you made sure the inspection happened.
Well, I thought our best move was to prove to the UN through the IAEA that we had no nuke. Of course, I was against us having it in the first place, but that was Snake's decision.
The boss wasn't responsible.
Well, don't get me wrong, I still believed in Snake. I thought I was making the best decision for all of us, that's all. I figured we should get a third party to exonerate us before proof of the nuke did get out. And who better to do that than an organization with international authority?
So the truth is, you took it upon yourself to agree to an inspection arranged by the UN. Only the inspection was a ruse, and Cypher's strike force, XOF, showed up instead.
I had no idea that would happen.
Enough bullshit!
Oh, sure, like I could have known. You know, I was just trying to prove our innocence to the world. What's wrong with that?
We're not interested in the excuses you've thought up. The truth is objective.
Just see it from my point of view.
You led XOF to the control tower. They seized it, giving them complete control over the base. Moments later, they detonated C4 on the strut legs. Anyone who'd managed to survive was hunted down by the assault force and their choppers.
You can't believe I did that on purpose.
That was the end of Mother Base. But it wasn't the end for you.
How can you... Look, think about it. I lost something too. I built Zeke and it got buried underwater. I am a victim.
That raises the big questions. Why were you the only one spared? You got away without a scratch. Why did Strangelove leave the base on the eve of the inspection? You two were close.
Strangelove?
And how did you manage to build something that surpasses Zeke in every way? Because you did everything they told you. You're the only one who didn't lose a thing. That is the truth.
I was taken away against my will. Skullface forced me to do his research these past 9 years. He used me. I lost 9 years.
9 years. We all lost 9 years. It wasn't just you.
I suppose blaming me makes you feel better, does it? But who's gonna give me back all the time I lost?
You're not getting anything back. You're not a victim here, Emmerich. You're the perpetrator.
I didn't know anything.
Nobody can back that up. Yeah, all the evidence is at the bottom of the ocean. You know the hardest man to break. The type who's fooling himself. That takes time. It's easier to live a convenient lie than a painful truth. Is that the piece you've chosen, Doc?
I'm not lying.
Of course. Just let me check one or two things. On that day, you were in the control tower with them. Lucky you. That's how you got out unscathed. And you escaped on one of their choppers. Only you, right before the base went under.
They had me blindfolded the whole time. I've never been so scared. The whole flight, I thought they'd kill me. But thinking of you kept me going. My comrades, all the way.
And?
There was a plane journey, and then we traveled by road. When they finally took off the blindfold, I was in kind of a warehouse, on the floor. Afghanistan, it was that research lab. I couldn't believe they'd taken me halfway around the world. And soon enough, he came.
Skullface.
He's the one who's really behind that Mother Base attack. He forced me into that research.
What kind of research?
He told me to build a bipedal walking tank for the Soviet Union. Like Peace Walker. A system that could fire an ICBM-class nuclear weapon. That's how the Sahelanthropus project got started.
Sahelanthropus.
Those AI weapons I'd made in Costa Rica were like toys by comparison. A whole world apart from reptilian four-legged crawling and that ridiculous hunched-over bipedal waddling. My design evolved to the dawn of mankind. Sahelanthropus, the first steps towards humanity. An upright bipedal weapon system. Originally, Sahelanthropus was going to be a manned weapons platform. I designed a cockpit in its head, and I planned to fill it with water as a buffering agent.
Like how Paz modified Zeke for human control.
Don't compare me to some amateur. I designed it for human control from the beginning. The problem was miniaturizing the posture control AI. You remember the reptile pod?
The AI that controlled your unmanned weapons.
Attaching it externally makes it vulnerable, so this time I wanted it beneath the armor. Meaning I had to make the AI smaller. I got it down to less than 1/10 the size without any loss in computation speed. But it was still too big for the cockpit. There wasn't enough room for the pilot. If I made the head bigger, its body would have to be bigger to support it. Too big to be practical. In the end, human piloting was taken off the table. I tested a remote control system too, but there was the time lag and I wasn't satisfied with its precision either. Plus, it would be useless if the enemy jammed it. So next, I went back to trying an AI-only system. To do that, I had the AI pods recovered from Nicaragua. This was a hybrid AI, a combination of Peace Walker's reptile and mammal pods. The only AIs that had ever successfully operated an unmanned nuclear weapon system.
Really? You'd need some help to get that working. Expert help. Did you work with someone?
I worked alone.
You did that yourself?
Well, that's the thing. The AI didn't pan out in the end either. But I did finally get Sahelanthropus walking by folding over its upper body to lower its center of gravity. The first upright bipedal locomotive weapon system in the history of mankind. I guess, technically it falls into the anthropoid ape category.
I don't see the benefit of having it stand taller.
On terrain with significant differences in elevation like Afghanistan, you need a body that's vertically adaptable. That also lets it attack from long range while using mountain ridges for cover. So, making it walk upright was the most important factor in giving it superior height capability. As the name suggests, that was the whole point of Sahelanthropus. But I was being pushed for results. Having the AI mounted externally would have been the fastest way to get it working. I just needed more data so it could maintain its balance. But Skullface refused to wait. He dismissed the idea of AI control and took Sahelanthropus away from me before I could finish it.
But it was walking when it came after you.
That's just it. I don't understand how Skullface got it to move upright, without a pilot or an AI. And walking at that speed, too. It's beyond anything I could have imagined. This is like the Wright brothers making it to the moon. I'm just as clueless as you are.
So this Sahelanthropus, where is it now?
I have no idea. All my experiments took place at that cave. I've never seen it anywhere else. Besides, it's still just an incomplete prototype at this point, and nothing but a paper tiger. Even if it can walk, it's far from being a viable weapons platform. It wouldn't be useful in actual battle.
Emmerich will remain here at Mother Base for now, but not as a member of Diamond Dogs. I still don't trust him. That work for you?
Fine by me. He can't be allowed any contact with staff either.
Yeah. A lot of the guys would love some payback for 9 years ago. We still need him alive. But we have to restrict his movements. He can only go where we tell him. And of course, the interrogations will continue. He worked for that skull bastard for nearly a decade. He still has more to tell us.
How long are we gonna press him?
If our investigation shows he really had nothing to do with the attack, we'll reconsider his place here. But I don't expect that to happen. Remember that water tank-shaped object in Emmerich's lab in the Soviet base camp? The thing that started talking to you like a possessed answering machine. That was a pod built for housing the AI used to control unmanned weapons. You remember, back in '74 in Costa Rica. It was in those machines you fought there. They were designated Pupa, Chrysalis, Cocoon, and Basilisk, and each of them was fitted with an AI unit called a reptile pod. Emmerich created it. It mainly handled the machine's posture control and autonomous behavior. But the Basilisk, aka Peace Walker, also featured a second AI pod. That one was called the Mammal Pod, and it was created by Dr. Strangelove. She tried to recreate the boss's personality through the Mammal Pod, but you pulled out its memory boards. That's when it transferred its own functions to its reptile pod.
just like a human brain compensating for damage by using the remaining healthy parts. The result was a unique entity, a hybrid of the reptile and the mammal. It sank to the bottom of Lake Nicaragua with Peace Walker. But apparently they salvaged it and transported it to that lab. Don't let it deceive you, Snake. It may sound like the boss, but it has neither a personality nor a will. Like Emmerich says, it's just a machine.
Okay, so some very interesting snippets of information there from the cassette tapes about Dr. Emmerich and his research. But now moving on. And we're going to be moving on initially to the side ops. The main mission is going to be taking us over to Africa. But before we go there, I'm just going to do a couple of side ops. And I shall explain why. Now we're going to start down here.
Please select a landing zone.
Dropping in. Okay, so Martian Eyes gave me a pretty good idea about how I could perhaps inject some roleplay elements into this game, which is pretty nifty because we can control Snake during the missions, but we can also, if we want to, control other members of our combat unit. And I asked, was it last session or a couple of sessions ago, what purpose does controlling these characters serve? And he gave me a very good idea of what I could do with them. You see, Big Boss here, first of all, is a very busy man. Does he have the time to be going out here and there to rescue a prisoner or two, to take down every minor little unit, combat, tank units and heavy infantries, and capturing all these different animals? Does he have time to do that? I don't think he does, to be quite honest with you. Plus, his style is all about infiltration, sneaky beaky, nice and in and out without being seen, doesn't like to run in there blazing guns. But just because he doesn't like to do that, that's not to say that Jackal doesn't, or maybe Titanium Mammoth might be more of a gung-ho style character. So by controlling these other characters during the side ops, we can adopt a slightly different style in terms of our gameplay. So I thought that would be a very good thing to do. So thank you, Martian Eyes, for giving me that idea. So to start with, we're going to take control of Mr. Jackal, who is quite proficient in a lot of stats. Now, there are going to be certain items that are off limits to these other members. For instance, the sneaking suit, very high performance, and only reserved for Big Boss, which means that our Mr. Jackal here will only be given the standard camouflage options. So we'll go with Desert Fox. Can give him a balaclava if we wish, but I think I'll pass on that, to be quite honest with you. So there is Mr. Jackal. And the same will be said about certain pieces of equipment. Now we will give him a assault rifle. His secondary weapon will be the non-lethal takedown rifle. Sniper rifle, of course. In terms of his secondary weapons, we're going to give him something slightly different. Rather than the pistol, tranquilizer gun style pistol that is again maybe reserved for the likes of Big Boss, he'll have to make do instead with a non-lethal silenced SMG instead, for something different to use. And then in terms of support weapons, let's have a look here. All of these can be given, no problem at all. Lovely. Well, here for instance, stealth camouflage, no such luxury. You can have a cardboard box, a phantom cigar, some night vision, and even the pills might be off limit as well. You can have all the tools. And then in terms of buddies, well, D-Dog is Big Boss's companion. Who's to say that D-Dog will listen to some random stranger? So he'll have to make do with the horse instead. So there we go. We are in control of the Jackal.
Deploying.
Now, of course, I still will be, wherever, not all the time, but more often than not, still be adopting a non-lethal takedown policy. But every so often, I might pick one of the combat unit members to be the person that we turn to when we want to go guns blazing. You know, because they are the specialist at using those big grenade launchers, rocket launchers, and causing holy hell when it is required. But to start with, we'll just sort of maintain our silent approach, just utilising a slightly different weapon. And a completely different person. And we're in. I don't think we're going to need... I think he's got faster... Has he got faster prone? Or faster sprint? Faster sprint. I knew he had something.
Please select a mission. Unit dispatched.
We lost the truck in that mission. But it's not a problem, because we gained lots of goodies as a result of being successful. So here we are. Mr. Jackal has been tasked, of course, with extracting
Marker placed.
a highly skilled soldier. So we're going to try and get in, get out,
Enemy presence detected.
as best we can.
Has been updated. Analysis complete.
Now the Jackal is, as you saw from his
Analysis
statistics...
complete.
Oh, look at this guy. He is quite highly skilled. This could be the target, this guy here. He's quite proficient with his stats. So just like Big Boss, minus a few of the toys, minus, of course, some of the companions, it's going to still be quite stealthy. But as I said before, I will pick one or two, maybe lessly skilled combat unit members to be the Rambos. They're not very good at stealth, so they just resort to using big kick-ass weapons to make up for their lack of stealthy skill. So when we feel like getting down and dirty with a shotgun or two, a grenade launcher, you know, maybe some grenades to go in hot, and they will be the people we turn to for that fun. Right, now we have the right SMG. I don't have any clue as to how many shots it will take to hit somebody with this. For instance, if you get a headshot, will it take him down straight away, or will it not? No idea. But we're going to find out, aren't we? Wow, yes it does. One shot and down. Which is great, because we have a dot sight as well on this thing. This is going to be fun. Oh, being in control of the Jackal Could be fun.
That's the target.
Complete.
Oh, that's the target. Well, this guy's actually got quite high stats. A++, I think it is, in combat unit, so we're definitely going to take him as well as the target for this mission.
Analysis complete.
There's all the guards around here. See if we can get it in and out of here without being seen. And off he goes.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Okay, so we're going to have to try and get our little grubby mitts on the specialist down there who is walking in a pair. Should be okay if we can use a stun grenade or a smoke grenade on both of them. I certainly like this gun. It's the first time I've used it. Seems to pack quite a punch. As soon as he stops walking, we'll be alright. There we go. Just out of range though, I think. Just aim a little bit higher. Not too high. There we go. Ah! He's split up from his body. Up! Scratch that. Are you worth taking?
Analysis complete.
Yes.
You gotta extract him.
Side op completed.
I'm out of here.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
See ya!
He's coming too. Roger
I
that.
can probably run faster than the horse. Not quite.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
So there we have it. Stun grenade, riot SMG, a couple of new tricks up our sleeve compared to what we usually use. And one side ops completed by Mr. Jackal. Well done. Now we do have another one which is relatively close by. So we'll go and do that one while we are here. And that one is to eliminate tank unit
Marker placed.
over in Dewandayar, which is where we rescued Miller, which seemed like an absolute eternity ago right now. So let's get ourselves over there as quick as we can. And just as we're about to take down our target,
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
night draws in.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Analysis complete.
target.
Analysis complete.
We're all the target here, look at this.
Analysis complete.
We've got a selection. Oh, wait a minute, we're not done yet. Sniper.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Got a collection of soldiers and a tank unit to take down. Now, we've got to be careful here because the tank unit, we're going to try and extract that. We also don't want to draw its attention because, yeah, it's going to be kind of difficult to take down a tank when you don't really have any rocket launchers. Could have brought one with me, but I propose to do this by extracting the tank. Now, if I take him down, will his mate notice? Probably, but we'll risk it. Risk it for a biscuit.
Boss, get down. Past enemies.
Wow, that was close. That was close.
Clouds approaching.
Jackal almost screwed up there. Be in support, we'll take him. See in base building. You got it.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Yeah, I think they're all salvageable, these people. Take them all, they've all got bees and something. Now the trouble is getting in and getting out nice and quick. If we were to snipe them all from distance, in fact, I think we're going to take a bit of a risk here. Take a little bit of a risk. Crawl in between these two. Take down this guy up this side.
Enemy presence detected.
There's only one of them.
Has been updated.
I mean, is he going to... Oh, he's just turned at the right moment as well. Perfect timing. Just don't turn back this way, whatever you do.
You have arrived at your destination.
He's a bit close to the tank though. If we grab him, the tank's probably going to see us. Gotcha! Boom! Okay. That's why he's A+ in combat, eh? Big Boss has been teaching him well.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Thank you, Mr. Jackal. Job well done.
Extract him.
Side ops list updated.
Nicely done.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Right, are there any more side missions that are nearby? We can finish off with one more before we go into the main mission. That's miles away. That's quite far. It's not massively far, but that is completely miles away. And we've done all of them. So yeah, I think that'll do. We will call a chopper Request
Please
pickup.
select a landing zone. Support helicopter requested.
And then we shall be back in control of Big Boss in Africa. Love how quick this guy runs. Speedy Gonzales. Arriba, arriba! I'm gonna try some new helicopter music.
Arriving shortly at LZ.
Hopefully it won't be copyrighted, but you never know. I'm gonna
On station at LZ.
nice and mellow.
Gaining altitude.
Buddy departing area of operations.
Departing.
Lovely. Lovely and mellow. After a hard day's work, extracting tanks and taking people down with riot SMG, rubber bullets to the head, it's nothing like flying off into the sunset to the sound of a melodic tune. Oh, Jesus.
Sign-off list updated.
Can we have Big Boss back now? Okay, claim our rewards. Set people off on another combat deployment.
Please select a mission. Unit dispatched.
That'll do. Now we are going to be going into Africa on the main mission, and we do have some cassette tapes in relation to Africa. So consider this a bit of a pre-briefing. Again, skip if you don't want to listen, but obviously I do want to find out what's going on.
Ever since the attack on your unit 9 years ago, the name Big Boss has become known the world over. What do you mean? Those of your men who survived traveled far and wide. They fought throughout the world. In fact, they're part of the reason we have all these PFs now. Every one of them suffered their own phantom pain from losing you. Talking about you wherever they went helped to heal their wounds. Your actions and words, your legend, has been told on every battlefield they've set foot on. Obviously, as the tales have spread, the truth's been distorted, painted over. Big Boss sacrificed himself to show us the threat that Cypher poses. He sounded a warning, so it goes. A warning? Too much power destroys the hands that hold it. Apparently, you chose to be a living example of that. I never said any of that. The moment any truth is passed on, it starts turning into fiction. The problem is, fiction inspires people more than facts. To the world, you're now the legendary mercenary Big Boss. The lessons you've taught the PFs are the reason they're so widespread. They're the reason they've survived. And you know what they all aspire to? To one day go nuclear, just like you did, and stand up to Cypher. Of all the stupid things you could do, they'll never understand what you really wanted. Heroes are misunderstood. It takes a man of the same caliber to understand what drives them. Bottom line is, these guys want to be like their hero, Big Boss. And deep down, they all have their eyes on nuclear weapons. They say that a nuke is the only means of standing against Cypher. But these days, it's becoming little more than a slogan to rally the troops and survive in a cutthroat business. Currently, there are 3 major PFs who've expanded into Central Africa. CFA, Rogue Coyote, and Zero Risk Security. HEC's investigations have shown there's almost no overlap between their areas of operation. It's not so much a turf war, more like they have a gentleman's agreement. If you do cross paths with them, you probably won't have to face more than one at a time. Still, don't expect a walk in the park. The CFA, Contract Forces of Africa. These guys are a major player, Their head office is in Pretoria, South Africa. That's also where the South African Defense Force is headquartered. We think the two are closely connected. An HEC investigation revealed that most of the CFA's operators are former SADF soldiers. South Africa has been locked in struggles with neighboring regimes for years. That means constant action, and we know better than anyone that's the best kind of training. A company drawing its recruits from hardened military vets. You can bet they know how to handle themselves. Do not underestimate them. Within the CFA is a company of soldiers made up mainly of locally hired operators. They speak Afrikaans to communicate with personnel from the CFA, but if you notice any speaking the local language, that's them. Though hired from the local population, they were originally part of a paramilitary group, so they'll have plenty of combat experience. And unlike their days shooting junkyard rifles out of beat-up pickup trucks, the CFA now supplies them with the latest gear from the West. On top of that, they've been combat trained by the South African Army. All that adds up to a much stronger fighting force. So don't brush them off. Look at the Angola-Zaire border region. The east bank of the Munene River in particular. It's a microcosm of a problem that stretches all across Africa. There's a civil war going on in Angola fought between the government MPLA and the Western-backed UNITA. Zaire is still a dictatorship under President Mobutu, but numerous uprisings have broken out in its remote regions. With all the trouble elsewhere keeping their hands full, neither government has control over their side of the border. They depend on militias and PFs, as do the rebels. Government forces, guerrillas, militants, groups of all shapes and sizes hawk whatever resources they can to hire PFs. Conflict brings PFs. PFs expand the war zone, and more conflicts erupt in a continuous chain reaction. Sounds like our kind of work. Mother Base could grow by leaps and bounds.
Let's hope so. Right, so we're briefed about the situation in Africa, the private forces that we're going to be stumbling across as well, no doubt. Now for the official briefing
Please
for this
select a mission.
particular mission, Pitch Dark. Now there's a blueprint here to keep an eye out for.
Boss, this contract comes out of Angola. That's right, Central Africa, where Emmerich claimed they were working on a weapon to surpass Metal Gear. There's been a massive oil spill from Mafinda oil field. It's flowing into the river and contaminating the water supply. An environmental NGO has asked us to stop the spill by destroying the facility. Environmental activism isn't exactly our line of work, but it's not that simple either. The group operating the oil facility and causing the spill is the rebel group UNITA. And word has it that UNITA is getting supplied with US military weapons. That sounds to me like Cypher's pulling their strings. Boss, it's time to give Cypher a little surprise.
Okay, 6 objectives. Let's check it out. Right, Big Boss is making his return. Of course, using the sneaking suit. And as for equipment, switch that out back for the old trusty pistol that he likes to use. Stun arm as standard. All weapons, I think, are the same. We weren't developing anything extra. Of course, Big Boss can make use of some of these other things that were taken away from Jackal. I think that's everything. And start off with Mr. DD. Alright, let's go. After this part of music, of course. Getting me in the mood to kick some ass.